Record. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are rolling. We have Malcolm all the way from Washington, D.C., right?
Yes,
He's
Washington, D.C.
he's in Staples right now. I'm at my place. So we are gonna find out how he designed and what does he do with his man and woman custom clothes. Correct?
Yep, I'm a custom designer. I design clothes for both men and women, all bespoke, made to measure kinds of clothing. So we basically start from the beginning to the very end in terms of creating clothes or outfits that fit and meet their specifications.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about what separates you from thousands of other designers? Like there are people who buy it from China or elsewhere. Like, is there anything specific about you? Do you have particular pricing, or you have particular style, or like what makes people go with you over someone else?
Well, the biggest difference is I don't ship my work out to anyone else to do it. I do my own work. So
So you
when
don't have
someone
a
comes
team,
to
so
me,
it's 100% you. Okay, gotcha.
yep. So I have people who sew for me, but I do my own work. So I don't um, contract my work out to others to do and finish. So when I take a measurement and I design a suit, I make the suit for the individual. So that's the biggest difference, is that I'm doing what I design. So I'm not passing it on to someone else.
Right now, because of the quarantine time and coronavirus, it's difficult to make people come to your shop or to travel and do measurements. What are the key ideas, like when someone does measurements on their own? How do you make sure, like when, let's say, like over Zoom, like you look at someone, make sure that they got the proper numbers so they don't make a mistake? You watch them, look how they do the measurements, like, or you give them like precise advice, like do it higher, lower, how difficult it is to make precise, exact measurements like that
Well,
remotely.
basically, I mean, we're using these phones to help us understand. I walk my clients through how to actually take the measurements the way I do it. Every
Mhm.
designer takes measurements differently. So I have 17 critical measurements that a person has to take for me to do a suit for them. If I get these
Mhm.
17 critical measurements, I can make any suit for any person. And as long as they're taking the measurements the way I take them, then it doesn't matter if we're doing this remote or if we're doing it face to
Mhm.
face. If I get those measurements in that particular, something very close to that, then I can make a suit for anyone. And
So
so that's what we use Skype, and we use FaceTime, and we use all kinds of Zoom or whatever in order to be able to communicate during this time where we can't do it.
how do you think the fashion have changed in the recent few weeks during the quarantine time? So I can see that my wife wears her pajamas much more often at home than before, and the fashionable masks became like more fashionable stuff. Can you, like, what do you think is the demand, like right now, at least in New York, are the masks mandatory? So for me to walk in a mask, so many hours, it's difficult. And but you can time that by 10 to make my 7-year-old to wear a mask. Is there particular materials that are good for masks for the kids, or like particular colors, particular design? What can make someone who doesn't want to wear a mask but required by law, required for the health reasons, what makes the mask more comfortable to wear or pleasant, more pleasant to wear?
Well, business is different now. I mean,
The
so
picture, your picture
how.
froze. I still can hear you, but your picture froze. Maybe you could go back
Okay,
to the location where you was. Maybe you have a better reception there.
I'm not
Ladies and
sure what
gentlemen,
happened.
I apologize.
I
The
think I
picture
lost you.
froze, but it's pretty much the same picture whether he's moving with his lips or you're just watching his frozen picture. It's the same guy. Go ahead, continue. Maybe the phone will unfreeze in a second.
I can
Yes,
see you.
here you go.
Okay.
Now the picture keep moving.
Okay. No, I said business is different now because again, with all of the pandemic, I think I don't know if it'll ever be the same because I think that folks will now take a lot more precautions of what they do, and I think we as designers have to make changes. We have to be more nimble. We have to be more flexible. Brick and mortar, having and waiting for someone to come to your shop is not the way to go. You're gonna have to learn how to be a little bit more nimble, a little bit more flexible to meet clients where they are.
Right. I have a male friend who's a model, and he recently posted his little funny quote that before you spend your money, make sure you can eat it. Yeah, meaning that every penny should count, and he is a model, like really careful what he buys and how it spends. Like so, the fashion also change for many people. Like maybe some doctors and nurses have income, but people in the entertainment industry, many of them lost ability to spend on fashion.
Right.
What makes the fashion now? Like what people do you think will buy now in terms of fashion? They still will want to look fabulous, even if they don't, would be able to
Right. Well,
see it from the close
obviously,
distance.
people
So
are
you
sitting in
have
their houses. Yeah, I said, well, obviously, people right now are sitting in their homes in their pajamas or in their casual wear because they don't have to dress. But I think
they do
eventually it's
because
going to
they do
change.
their
We're going to get
selfies.
back to some kind of.
They want to feel awesome, even if it's in their house. They still like for me. If I dress up and shave and look good, it's kind of builds my day, even if no one, I don't get out of the house, but still, makes me more, on feel that this is not the next same day again and again. It's not like what was that movie? The when the day was the same. Not rabbit hole. The Hancock Day, Groundhog Day. Remember? So now for
Oh, groundhog. Oh, yeah.
yeah, it feels like for many people, same day over and over.
Day over and over and over. Same day.
Yes. So, do you think the
That's right.
bright colors will help people from the distance? Do you think let's say we're doing those Skype and Zoom meetings, which colors are really good on camera? So, I'm wearing, let's say, red shirt now, so it kind of makes me distinct from the background that's behind me. Like, what kind of material would be good for the fashion in the current environment?
Well, I think if you're doing these kinds of meetings like this, I mean, I think colors make sense because it has aesthetically, I think it looks better and I think it feels better based on how we're having our meetings. I think that long as I think that that's a good thing. The red, like you wear, for example, my eyes go right to it because the color is vibrant. And I think when you're doing Zoom meetings like this, I think you have to have some vibrancy or people get bored and they fall asleep. So I
Yes.
think the color is good.
If I say stupid stuff, they turn to a different channel, and if they bored, they move away. Yeah, that's correct. Uh,
Yeah, I think that
so
makes sense.
Look, I started recently working on a number of fashion shows here in New York, in the state parks, like far away from people. So it's like really big open space where models can be like 20, 30 feet away from each other. And every person comes on their own car. So there is no like interaction, and they do their own makeup and hair and dressing. So each person gets the dress way clothing before the show. So it's not like a designer comes with the bags and give everybody a piece. It's more like it gets shipped. It's under the UV light, so people make sure that there is no virus in it, and they wear it for the show, and then they ship it back. Like, do you think those kind of shows will produce clients for guys like you, basically? you design for men and for women, so you have all kind of suits, so you can have similar kind of show.
Well, so basically, you talk about doing a virtual show, doing a virtual
No,
fashion
it's
show,
not.
pretty
It's
much.
not a virtual.
Um,
It has all the regular components of the show. So it's have the audience. It has the photographers and videos. It has the models. It has all the regular parts. It just doesn't have the like a nightclub or like a space. It's open space. So it's in the field. So instead of models walking in line next to each other, they have 20, 30 feet between each person. Instead of doing this at night, they're doing it in daylight. Instead of photographers filming it
right.
with the regular, runway cameras, 20, 75, maybe 200 millimeter lens. I use now 1,000, 2,000 millimeter lens, which I use for the birds. This lens is used to shoot eagles and birds from the distance. Now I use it for the fashion and the weddings. Like things changed, but we still have live, if the reception allows, we can do the Instagram feed, and we can still do the live on Facebook and YouTube and different social media. And we can edit the show later on, which we film with the zoom camera lenses, and still have a decent work. Most of the designers in here in New York, at least, we always every year there was a main complaint. Mercedes Fashion Week used to be maybe 90, 100 feet along runway. Most of the
Uh-huh.
shows here, maybe 60 feet, 35 feet, 25 feet. I've seen many shows with 15, 20 feet show. So it's a very,
Oh,
very
wow.
short walk. So the models don't really have a chance to show the walk, the movement of the garment, to show the dress. Now we have that advantage in the field. We have the wind, so the garment can really play outside with the wind and the different colors and light. If it's rain or if it's windy, if it's like sunny, sunrise, sunset. So there is so much, different. The walk doesn't have to be 100 feet. It could be 200, 300 feet walk.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's a very good way. I mean, I think the bottom line is, I mean, what's the best way to capture the garment for the designers? The designers want to be able to get their garments to be showcased in the right light in the right way. I mean, that is the biggest thing for me. I mean, I don't care about runway as long as I can get my models to breathe the life that I need to breathe in my outfit so that it can be shown in the right way. That's the key to me.
I think what another part of what it does, it eliminates folks with limited resources. So only models who have lots of money and cars and free time and ability to do fashion now, they stay in the business. The girls who
Right.
earn living
Yeah.
from that and who don't have those resources, they have to survive now and make a living or whatever. They can do delivery jobs or like some kind of real, essential work. Fashion is a privilege. So in that sense, so it's
Right.
only accessible for the folks who have that ability to do that.
Yep. I agree. I agree. I agree.
High fashion, I would say. I have another question that was raised by my wife. Uh, the collection that all those stores that closed in Manhattan have from last season, do you think they will be on sale, or they will throw them away, or it will be a new collection, or they will be like a higher price? Because I think that the because they don't have any more money and they have to pay their rent, they will have no ability to buy a new collection. So they will be stuck with the old collection, whatever they have
Right.
in possession. So they will have to sell it at normal price or higher. On the other side, the fashion moved really quickly. So by next fall, this will be pretty much outdated and different
Right. Right. Right.
philosophy. So what do you think will happen to the pricing? Is it going to be for pennies on the dollar, or it's going to be thrown out, or it's going to be expensive? What
Well,
will happen?
well, again, I think, and this is my philosophy. I don't think you throw it out. I think you get rid of it. I think you move it at a level. It's going to be priced at a discounted price. I mean, the times are going to dictate what you do. I mean, if you develop a collection and you spend a lot of money, and obviously it's out of season, then what are you going to do? You're going to end up making a new collection anyway. So my thing is, and this is my philosophy. I love it, but I love it, but I'm not in love with it, which means that I like what I've done, but I'll sell it in order to keep it moving. To stay in the business, you have to be in the business. So that
Right,
means
but
that I think that
you have
somebody's going to get
just
great prices.
I'm looking at this from the business perspective. As a designer, let's say if you have limited resources and you have necessity to put money towards the uh, your rent, your basic necessities like food and stuff, right? And what do you do with stuff that you already have? You remake it. Do you think it's going to be irrelevant because of the fashion changed or the coronavirus changed everything? Like I said, with the
Oh no, no,
colors, and,
I don't.
or you hold on to it because you don't know when you will produce the next collection, so you
Right,
better keep that one. So keep selling it, so it will be some kind of stream of income. I did a couple of my collections maybe 5, 7 years ago. My first collection with glow in the dark fashion, and after that I kind of stopped doing new collection, but I keep selling them. Eventually people like it. I keep showing the collection, so whatever leftovers I have, my wedding dresses, my clothing design, my swimwears, keep selling. Even this is maybe like I would say 5, 7 year old designs, but folks like them. They see the pictures. I still
right,
do new shows with the same collection. It's keep moving. So it doesn't necessarily, for me, make sense to throw it at the
right,
discount prices. I still have my. It's only when I lose my storage options when I
right,
decide
right, right,
to
right.
price out.
I think that really depends on the individual. Like for me, again, I like to keep it moving. So I'm not necessarily going to sell my whole collection at a bargain basement price because the pieces that I've designed, they're not going to go out of style. I mean, they may come back in a different way in the next season or another season. I hold on to pieces and I use them and I repurpose them. So I don't think that you throw away anything to the extent that you get rid of it because you're out of season. I think that these things, a lot of pieces can be repurposed for a different season. You may have to make some tweaks. And depending on the fabric that you're using, obviously, if I'm using fall fabric or heavier fabric, I'm not going to show that in the summer, or I'm not going to show that as a summer piece. So I think you just have to look
Do you,
at your
do you
collection
think now the
and
mask, the
repurpose
glasses,
what you
the
can.
like facial mask and the like air mask, the mask would be necessarily piece for the dress, like for the, let's say I'm a guy, I'm wearing a suit and I need to have matching a mask for my suit. If I'm a girl and I'm wearing a dress, I need to have like a mask that match my dress.
Yeah, I think you're going to have some of that. I don't know if it's going to be universal, but I think you're going to have some of that just given the times that we're living in. And I think folks are going to be a little bit more conscious, and that's what I meant. I think things will be different. Our normal is not the same normal. I think we're going to start doing some things that are in response to the kind of conditions that we're living right now. I mean, I can imagine me personally making masks to match my suits.
I have a whole bunch of models and designers who do making masks now, and they're selling them pretty
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I have
and
friends who are doing that well too, and they make a lot of money.
I realized that the material, like to make a mask, is really matters. Like you want the material that really keeps the bacteria, keeps like stuff easily, and still breathable. And at the same time, you can wash it like every day, and it has to dry pretty quick. So if it takes a while to dry it, you might, not so much like it.
Right. Well, I'm not really into making any masks right now. To be honest with you, I've decided that that's not what I want to do. But, but I think that our normal will be different moving forward because I think that that's what's going to happen with moving forward doing our designs because of the conditions. Again, this pandemic has changed the game. I
Okay,
believe so.
that's true. That's true. Okay, Malcolm, do you have any other points that you want to bring up?
No,
Hopefully, next time when
I
you will
really,
have a better headset and better mic,
yeah,
we
yeah,
might
that's right.
continue.
That's
But
right.
let's see how this piece will work. Go ahead.
Oh no, I appreciate it. I appreciate you reaching out, and again, this is an interesting time for us. as designers, as creatives. But we just have to keep finding the most efficient ways to reinvent ourselves during this time, and so that we can continue to do our business. Otherwise, we don't make it. So I'm committed to reinventing myself and continuing my business as good as I can.
I got, I think, like three designers right now that shipped me the collections that they want me to shoot with local models that I know. And once I get those, hopefully by next week, we will be able to produce them, and then I have to ship them back to them. Uh, my question to you is, do you think that that would be like a new normal now that people will, with a certain distance, will ship the clothes and shut it in particular locations? Like, let's say I'm using I have permit for a particular beach, and I have permit for the hunting space, so it's kind of open space where there is no people and it's kind of safe.
So are you asking me about if you're a show producer and you're saying like I want to participate in your show, I send you my collection and
Yeah,
you
if you're a
do
designer, right? And if you
yeah.
ship the collection, let's say you can do it to let's say a producer. In my case, like, I do photography and video and production, all those parts together. So it's kind of very small team. You don't need to have a separate video people, a separate photography person, separate management. So for makeup and hair and like bringing the crew and stuff and permits scouting location and stuff. So I have a whole bunch of skills that helps me to uh, have very minimum crew but still produce quality content so designer can use it and you know I think the my main selling point is my platform, my 30,000 subscribers to my YouTube, my Instagram following, my Facebook following. I have like about I think 300 pages on Facebook. That's
Oh wow, okay.
for each like particular subject. I'll send you a list. So that makes it really good for SEO. So it's kind of easy selling points. So designers not only want to shoot the collection or have proper models and proper location, but they also want distribution where it's going to go, like TV show or like you know Roku and Hulu, like all those platforms that I have access to.
Uh-huh.
It makes the difference. So they want to have as little as possible uh, folks be involved for the safety reasons, for the health reasons, and they want to have a quality production that still presentable. Do you think that is new normal for a while?
Yeah, I do. I think there's going to be a combination of those kinds of things that's going to happen because I think, again, it's just finding different ways to be able to make presentations and to get your pieces out in front of folks and using non-traditional strategies to present and showcase. I mean, via like YouTube or through a Skype or through whatever the means so that you can still have your presentation presented in the most effective way to the biggest audiences that you can find and still find yourself operating in this new environment. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's going to happen, and I think it can happen. I think there's enough creativity, there's enough technology that can allow you to do that.
I also start doing the kind of explanation productions, interviews with designers like you, when you put a piece on a mannequin and you explain the philosophy that goes behind this, the material, the logic, so you talk a little bit more in depth about your creation, and that kind of explains to folks who are far away from fashion what that piece can do for them in terms of arts and fashion.
I think I misunderstood a little bit of your question. Say that again.
So,
Let me make sure I understand you.
so I start a series of interviews, and when I interview designers like you, when designer would put the garment on a mannequin or even on the hanger, and would stand next to it and just explain for the audience the philosophy behind this piece, the
Hmm.
material, the look, the style. So it's a kind of breakdown. Like if you remember in the old times when we go to the showroom and the buyers from the stores will come and just want to discuss the logic behind the particular pieces.
Right,
That's
right, right.
a similar kind of discussion. It's just basically I'm playing the part of the host and moderator, and designer is explaining the vision. So when the buyers can view that video and see, okay, that's me. That's something that I want to be part of. I want to connect to that piece, and I want to have it. Or that's not really the philosophy that I want to share. So they move to the next one.
Oh no, I think that that's a good idea. I mean, again, I mean, the whole idea is that, I mean, if I put something on a mannequin, I can tell you from start to finish, from the inception to the completion of the garment, how would I come up with that concept? Why am I doing it this way? What's my vision? Where I'm trying to go with it? I mean, I can talk about that in my sleep because it was created in my mind, and then I brought it to life. So of course.
Yeah. Okay, maybe we can try that. Folks are really interested in to see like what this particular piece can do for them, or let's say it could help make them, look taller, or it can help them to look distinct, or it can what
Right.
that particular suit or dress does for the customer. Tell the audience a little bit more like of your plugin for your social media, maybe your Instagram or Facebook, so before we kind of
Okay.
wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty active on social media. You can find me as Malcolm's Custom Made Fit is the name of my business, but on Instagram I'm Executive D, EXECUTIVED 1, Executive D1. That's Instagram. On Facebook I'm under Malcolm Staples, and so those two platforms are the main sources for me in terms of advertising my business. And I try to keep my pages as fresh as possible on a daily basis and showing different things, trying to show different pieces through video, through photos, through all kinds of ways to try to make sure people can see and appreciate what the garments are. So on
Welcome.
those two platforms, mainly, that's where you can find.
It's been a pleasure. Let's hope that we get more questions and following, and folks will request you to come back on the
Okay,
program again and again. I'm gonna
so
stop
they will.
recording at this point. Thank you.